Hello everyone and welcome to part 8 of my Madden 25 Rams Connected franchise here on Clyde 92 TV. You can see right now we are advancing the week against the Arizona Cardinals. They're 3-9 and we're 10-2, so it's pretty guaranteed we win that game. Right now you can see our next game is up against the New Orleans Saints, who are also 11-2. They are ranked as the #1 team right now in the NFL. You can see I'm checking the standings, and you will see that the 49ers have lost their 5th straight game in a row. They started off the season 8-0, and they're now 8-5. So I'm looking at our last 3 games of the season, because I played 2 consecutive games a little while back in the series, so I still need to sim 2 games of the season. So this will be the very last game of the regular season. And if you saw the 3 last teams we have on our schedule, they are the Seahawks, Buccaneers, and Saints, right? And obviously I want to be playing the game that is most significant in the series. That way we can probably get a top playoff spot. So at this point in the season, it's pretty guaranteed we're going to make the playoffs. The only way I think we don't make it is if the 49ers win their next 3 games, we lose our next 3 games, and a whole bunch of wild card teams need to win their next 3 games. So as of now, we know we're getting in the playoffs, but whether or not we'll be getting a first round bye or not is still up in the air, and that's why I decided to play this game against the Saints, because they're ranked the #1 team. So if we beat them, we will only need to win 1 out of our next 2 games left that I'll be simming in order to get either a 1 or 2 seed in the NFC, which is a pretty big deal in the NFL. That way you don't have to play that first week. So that is why this last game of the regular season is so important for this Rams team. And if you guys remember from my last episode, I was talking to you guys about a NBA 2K14 My GM, and I have narrowed it down to around 4 teams that I think could be rebuilt in the series. And those 4 teams are the Bucks, the Magic, the Jazz, and the Denver Nuggets. So those are all teams that have kind of been struggling lately. The Nuggets have made the playoffs recently, but they haven't really gotten anywhere. So it would be logical for me to rebuild all of them. So this is my question for you guys. I want you guys to put in the comments, name one of those 4 teams that you think I should be rebuilding come around March. I just really need you guys to pick this for me because I haven't really been able to rule any of them out. The only one I've kind of been going against is the Nuggets, mainly because they're the best out of the 4 teams. And you guys have no idea. I am so excited for the new NBA game. Like, I haven't gotten this excited for a video game in a real long time. Like, I've been watching commentaries on it and all these other things. Just about everything in the game is looking great. I'm kind of biased because I play basketball, and basketball's my second favorite sport to watch, but just all the features they're adding to it is looking so great. The My GM mode is so much better than the old association. The My Team has seemed to lose a lot of its bugs, which is great. The overall gameplay is just looking great. All of the animations are a lot smoother. The players' faces look more realistic, and finally they have done something with the coaches so that way they don't look like awkward people on the sidelines. And let's not forget the best improvement. My player has just blown me away what they've done with it. They added a storyline to it, and I'll be honest with you guys, I played the crap out of that My Player mode, even without the storyline, and just putting in that storyline is going to make me play it twice as much as I already do. And I'll be honest with you guys, when they first created My Player, or when I first saw My Player in 2K11, I was like kind of skeptical about it. I never really used the mode, but in 2K13 I started using it more, and it's one of those things where when you first start off, your My Player just completely is terrible at everything, but as you start to get better, it becomes so much fun. Just to give you an idea of how much I like that My Player mode, I am still playing My Player on 2K13 while I'm waiting for 2K14. I just upgraded my guy to around a 90 overall, which is just so satisfying because it takes forever to get there, but once you do, it's so good. So let's get into some of the commentary of this game. At this point in the game, we had Case Keenum as the starter because you guys voted him, but at his first throw of the game, he threw an interception, and I did not want to afford that. I took him out and put in Kellen Clemens, who on a scramble to the right side got hurt. I think he had some kind of ligament tear or something. You can see him on the sideline right there, and he is out for 4 weeks. So Case Keenum is back in the game. He just threw a touchdown to put us up by 11 points. Drew Brees and the Saints have the ball right now. If you were watching closely at those first 2 Saints possessions, Drew Brees had a 3-and-out both times, so they've not had any offense going up until this point. They just got a first down right there with a pass to Lance Moore. They now have the ball at the 31-yard line. Drew Brees is throwing it to the left side to Morgan. I think that's Josh Morgan. I'm not completely sure, but he fell over for some reason when he got the ball. They now have the ball at the 47-yard line on 3rd and 7. Drew Brees is going to the right, back to Lance Moore. He's on my ultimate team, I'm pretty sure. He's a pretty good player. He's a little bit overrated, I think. I think that Drew Brees can seriously make any wide receiver look that good. Here, Drew Brees is back in the pocket. He finds Gibbons right there. That is not Chris Gibbons. I did not trade him away. That's what you guys are thinking. Chris Gibbons is still with us. I guess there's just multiple Gibbons in the league. They're doing a pitch right there to Darren Sproles. And Darren Sproles did not get much going at the beginning of this game. It really shows how good of a run defense we are as a team, which is pretty important. But when it comes down to it, we need to be a better pass defense. As you can see right there, as they got a touchdown, I think another pass to Lance Moore. He's already gotten 3 receptions at the beginning of this game. So we now have the ball at the beginning of the second quarter on 2nd and 4. Case Keenum is back. He's finding Jared Cook, our newfound leader. If you guys saw the last episode, I really found that Jared Cook is one of those receivers that you can pass it to, and he can just put his head down and truck over guys. I really like that. I would rather just give it to him than give it to guys like Brandon Lloyd right here on that pass. And the reason I say that is because with speedy receivers, you have to maneuver around a lot of the defenders, but with guys like Jared Cook, I can just have him run over guys with no problem. Now with running backs, it's a completely different situation. I found that speedy running backs in this game are kind of overpowered. That's one of the reasons why I picked up Jacquizz Rodgers. It's real easy to do outside handoffs in this game. You can see right there, Case Keenum rolling out to the left side, getting the ball to Kendricks across the middle right before being hit, and this is not a good sign. Injury timeout for Case Keenum. We have now lost 2 quarterbacks in this game, so you know who's going to have to come in right now. I'm looking at the injury report, and Case Keenum and Kellen Clemens are both out for 4 weeks. That is not a good sign for this team. And you guys know who's back. Mark Sanchez is now the starter for the 2nd straight time. He earned his job back because of 2 lucky injuries for him. I really wish we had Case Keenum. I was kind of mean to him to sub him out after 1 interception. He actually is a really accurate passer, a little bit more accurate than he is in real life, but we will now have to wait 4 weeks before getting him and Kellen Clemens back. And just in case you guys are wondering, the game they would be coming back for would be the NFC Championship game. I worked out all the math in my head right there. You can see Drew Brees is back, a good amount of time in the pocket. He gets it to Darren Sproles. I almost pick off the ball. You can see Darren Sproles has 2 receptions for 7 yards. I think we hit him in the backfield on a screen pass or something. They're doing a pitch right now to the outside. Darren Sproles' first good run of the entire game. He fumbles the ball. Luckily for him, it goes out of bounds. So right now on 2nd and 6, they have it at the 30-yard line. They can narrow our lead with a touchdown here. Brees is going deep, and it is intercepted by Cortland Finnegan. Good play by him to jump up in the air and get that ball. We will now start our drive at the 20-yard line thanks to Cortland Finnegan. Sanchez has the ball. It is 1st and 10 with about 6.5 minutes left in the first half. He's given the ball to Michael Floyd, not someone you've seen much of this game. So we will get the ball at the 31-yard line with about 5.5 minutes left. Sanchez is putting Brandon Lloyd in motion. It's good to have all of our receivers back after losing so many last week in that game against the 49ers. He gets the first down. It's important to get those first downs. It is not always about getting touchdowns. Sometimes we just have to take it one play at a time, and that play, Mark Sanchez just got sacked. That defensive player's first sack of the game. We now have the ball on 3rd and 19. Pretty unlikely we're going to score here. He's throwing it to Zach Stacy on the left side, and it is intercepted. Luckily for us, Zach Stacy's a speedy running back. He gets back there and tackles him. Zach Stacy's not someone you see much of. In real life, he's a pretty good player. And if we're ever in a situation in any of these games where we're up by a lot and I don't want to risk Jacquizz Rodgers or Leon Washington getting hurt, I will definitely put in Zach Stacy. So right now, the Saints have the ball at the 18-yard line, down by 11. Brees is back. He's trying to get a touchdown and get his team back in this game. He's giving it to Darren Sproles. Sproles has not been able to contribute much rushing, but he's still able to help out with his catches. So right now, Brees is back on the 3-yard line. They're electing to pass. He finds his receiver on the right side of the end zone, barely getting it to him. I was trying to intercept the ball. The defender didn't go out to get it, so they will score, and the score will now be 17-21. We have the ball at the 30-yard line after the kickoff. We're running it with Jacquizz Rodgers. I found that a good strategy in this game. Well, it's not really a strategy in the game, but in real life, it's always good to try to run out of bounds with your running back. Don't want to risk him getting hurt, and at the same time, it's frustrating for a defense not being able to tackle the opposing team. So with under 2 minutes left, we're trying to make a drive and score a touchdown before the first half ends. I think we get the ball at the start of the second half. We're giving it to Jared Cook right there at the 29-yard line. Right now, we're doing a corner strike route. I told you guys in previous videos, this is by far the most cheap route in the entire game. I do kind of abuse it, I'll be honest, but if the developers didn't want me to abuse that route, they wouldn't have made it so cheap in the first place. So here at the 1-yard line, we are rushing it with our fullback Kendricks. He gets into the end zone. Not very often you'll see a fullback score, but it's fun just to see the big guys get in there, as you can see as he celebrates right now. The score is now 28-17. We have an 11-point lead, which in my mind is a pretty comfortable lead going into the second half. half. However, the Saints do not want us to go into the second half with the 2-possession lead. They're going to try to go downfield and score. They're not going to kneel on the ball. So right now, with about a minute left in the game, Breeze is back. They're just doing 4 verticals at this point. Breeze is there. We are not set. We're in a cover 2, so we only have 2 or 3 guys back. He finds his receiver. A great pass by Breeze. You can see he's happy about that right there, shaking his finger at the opposing team. There's Gibbons again. He's scoring and posing in the end zone. So there have now been 2 touchdowns in the last minute of this half. So that's a pretty high-scoring game. We're already at 28 points in the first half of this game. So here we go with Tavon Austin bringing back the kick from our own end zone. So he's running along the left sideline. He gets pushed out of bounds at the 45-yard line, which sets us up with pretty good field position. We have the chance to get the 3rd touchdown since the 2-minute warning of this half. So there is Jared Cook completely running over that New Orleans defender. He gets it all the way to the 35-yard line. Here we are on 1st and 10. We're doing that corner strike route. Sanchez is rolling out to the right. He needles the ball right in between the defenders to Tavon Austin. He's really been having a good game. Up until this point, he's been a little bit shaky, but he has been able to come back. Here Sanchez is doing the same route, this time to Michael Floyd, who barely gets into the end zone. That will increase our lead to 11, and that will end the first half of this game. So now the second half of this game is starting, and I thought rather than talking more commentary, I decided to talk more about the actual NFL in real life, mainly because I did talk somewhat about the NBA earlier in this video, so I just want to talk about Wild Card Weekend. Now, at the time of this recording, the Eagles game is going on right now, and the Chiefs-Colts game had already ended, so I just want to give you guys my original predictions and how I think the whole playoff system is going to work from here. So let's start with the first game that happened today, Chiefs-Colts. It was an insanely high-scoring game. The final score was 44-45, and my original prediction was that the Colts would win. And it's not that I'm a Colts fan or anything. I don't really have a big opinion on the Colts entirely. It's just that the Chiefs had not been producing lately, and the Colts earlier in the season, I believe, beat the Broncos, and I think they also beat the Seahawks. So they've obviously shown that they can contend with these other teams. So I wasn't that surprised that they won. I was just surprised at what a high-scoring game it was. Now time for the second game, which is Saints-Eagles. At the time of this recording, the score is 6-7, and even though the Saints are down, I think that they can win. I think they're by far the better team. They obviously have a better offense than the Eagles do. It's just that the Eagles are playing in cold weather, and as the Saints have proven, they're a dome team, obviously. They play better at home without any weather effects, and I even think the Saints were like 3-5 this season on the road, so they're obviously not that good on the road, but despite that, I do think they can beat the Eagles. I think Drew Brees is a far better quarterback than Nick Foles. I think he can get through the cold weather and probably beat the Eagles in this game. Now, the third game that's going on tomorrow is Chargers-Bengals, and this is kind of a weird game because both of these teams kind of slipped their way into the playoffs. The Chargers only got into the playoffs in the first place because Kansas City beat a team with all their backups in, which is crazy in itself. And the Bengals were in the playoffs a little bit earlier on, but it wasn't as big of a deal for people for some reason. So in this game, I'm picking the Bengals to win, mainly because they're at home and they have a pretty good defense. I do not think they will get past either the Patriots or the Broncos, mainly because Andy Dalton is still developing as a quarterback. I don't think he's really at his point in his career where he can seriously make a deep run in the playoffs. And the final game going on tomorrow is the San Francisco 49ers up against the Green Bay Packers, and I can see this game being just a complete blowout, mainly because the Packers also slipped their way into the playoffs with that game against the Bears, which was a great game if you guys saw it. But the Bears lost to the Eagles. Like, they got killed by the Eagles earlier in the season. And I just know that if the Bears are going to get crushed by the Eagles and the 49ers are far better than the Eagles, then the Packers will definitely lose to the 49ers. There's no question there. I'm predicting they'll lose by at least 2 touchdowns. Not to say that they're a bad team, but I do think they probably have the better offense, but their defense is kind of struggling at this point. So those are all of my projections for the Wild Card Weekend. Maybe I'll do one for the divisional round, depending on whether you guys like that or not. So let's get back into the actual commentary of this game. So right now we are up 18 against the Saints with about 3 minutes left in the third quarter, and not only we are winning, but Jacquizz Rodgers is making a run to get the most touchdowns in one game. I think the record is 6 touchdowns in one game, and I think at this point he has around either 3 or 4. So right now Drew Brees is throwing it to the right side to Lance Moore, picking up the first down, so they will get the ball at the 41-yard line at the start of the fourth quarter. They are going to need to make a pretty big run in this last quarter in order to catch up to us. They're doing a draw play to Darren Sproles, who has picked up his game in the second half. At the the beginning of the game, he was a little bit shaky, but in the second half of this game, he has really produced well. On 3rd and 12, they elect to rush the ball for some reason. Sproles gets hurt, so they will put in, I think, Mark Ingram. Garrett Hartley is out right now to kick the field goal. He kicks it up, and it is good. So the score will now be 27-42. We now have a 15-point lead. A score here will basically ice the game, and we start the ball on the 10-yard line. I think it was after some sort of penalty. You can see Michael Floyd right there getting a one-handed grab, getting us the ball at the 31-yard line. We are now doing a draw play to Jaquiz Rogers, who's running up the middle and is improving his runs up the middle. He's not always having to go outside all the time. He has 110 yards on the game. We are doing a play-action pass with him right now. Sanchez is rolling out to the right side. He tries to get it to Brandon Lloyd, but Lloyd drops it. So we will have to punt them the ball. They go 3 and out and have to punt it right back to us on 4th and 1 with about 6.5 minutes left in the game. Tavon Austin is back ready to retrieve the punt at the 20-yard line. He's running out to the right side. Running outside in this game is so good. He cuts back in, embarrasses that New Orleans defender. So we will start our drive at the 42-yard line. Right now on 2nd and 3, we are giving it to Jaquiz Rogers, trying to get him that record. I think he's 2 touchdowns away from 5 touchdowns, which will put him at 2nd place, and 3 away from 3 touchdowns. So Sanchez is rolling out to the right side, throwing it across the middle to Brandon Lloyd, who gets it at the 29-yard line. He's got about 80 yards receiving on the game. We are doing a play action with Jaquiz Rogers right now. Sanchez is back, rolling out to the left side, doing a pass to Tavon Austin, doing these short passes, not trying to throw it deep and throwing interceptions, because that seems to be something Sanchez has a bad tendency of doing. Right now we're doing an ISO right up the middle. Jaquiz Rogers decides to take it outside. That's a good decision by him. He jumps into the end zone. That will give him his 3rd touchdown of the game. I went back and checked the stats, and earlier I was wrong. He was actually at 2 touchdowns, so he's celebrating right there with his imaginary guitar. Now Drew Brees and this New Orleans Saints team has the ball at the 20-yard line. Not a very good chance they're going to come back at this point. They will most likely lose their number 1 seed in the playoffs. Robert Quinn right there is getting the sack on Drew Brees, which will put them back at the 13-yard line. Brees is now back. He's just trying to get the first down, and he gets sacked again by Robert Quinn. That is 2 consecutive sacks for Quinn, a real motivator for this team. We're trying to get Jaquiz Rogers that record. He only needs 2 more touchdowns, but we only have 2 minutes to give it to him. Now Chris Gibbons is back to receive the punt. We do not want Tavon Austin back. We do not want to risk him getting hurt. It's not worth it at this point in the game. When we are up by 22, we are now doing an outside run with Jaquiz Rogers to the right side. Rogers is running right. The defender should have had him right there at the 15-yard line. Rogers maneuvers his way around him, gets it to the 4-yard line. Now we are at the 2-yard line, putting Kendricks in motion. Rogers is running up the middle and gets into the end zone. That is his 4th touchdown of the game. It could have easily been his 5th, but if you remember earlier in the video, we elected to run it with Kendricks as our fullback at the 1-yard line. So the Saints go 3 and out. They're following possession, so they will have to kick it back to Chris Gibbons again. He is retrieving it at the 23-yard line. He is running to the right side this time, and Gibbons gets it to about the 45-yard line before being hit down. So with about a minute left, we have to get Jaquiz Rogers that record. He probably won't get the ultimate record at this point with 6 touchdowns, but he can still get 5. But he's running to the left side. No one's near him. It's a foot race for the end zone. All the Saints are piling up, and touchdown Rams. We get Jaquiz Rogers that record. It may only be 2nd place, but it's still a pretty big deal for this Rams team. It's a big confidence booster with only 2 games left in the season. You can see Mark Sanchez patting his teammates on the back. He will be the new starter for the next 4 weeks. Drew Brees is just in shock how they got blown out this game. You guessed it, Jaquiz Rogers is obviously the player of the game. It could not have been anyone else. And this game, confidence-wise, is the most important for our team, and it helped us so much. It proved that we can go up against teams that are ranked number 1, like the Saints, and we can beat them. We may have been at home, but we can still prove that we can compete with teams like this. We are ready for the playoffs, and next episode will be a playoff game. I'm not sure whether it will be the playoff game in the wild card weekend or divisional round. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the divisional round, but I cannot guarantee it. Your GMC Never Say Never moment of the game is obviously Jaquiz Rogers getting his 5th touchdown. A pretty big deal for this Rams organization. Here are your final game stats. We do better in scoring and rushing yards. They actually did better and more stats than us, which is pretty weird considering we won the game with not as good stats. So here are your NFC rankings. We are ranked number 1 in the entire NFL, and we have clinched a playoff berth in our division. We have not clinched a number 1 or number 2 seed because we only have a Y. I had to look up online what the Y and X meant because I never really fully understood what that meant. So after showing you what teams are going to be in the playoffs, or at least are projected to be in the playoffs, I'm showing you the NFC West standings. Finally, the 49ers have won a game after I think 6 or 5 straight losses. Right now I'm showing you the last 2 games of the season, which I will be simming. If you guys didn't already know that, I'm comparing our schedule to the last 2 games of the Saints, because if we go 0-2 and they go 2-0, then they will be the number 1 seed in the playoffs as it stands right now. So next episode will be an episode in the playoffs, a big deal for just the series entirely, because I did feel that the season did start to get into a drag near the end of the regular season. So I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys next time in the playoffs. God bless you all.